I don't have an intro to this video and it's difficult to segue into the subject matter. So I'm just going to go into my phone and read some of the stuff that I've been writing while at work. Which, you know what, it's not even that good of an idea because right off the bat, baby Jesus wouldn't put his dick in another guy's mouth. You know, I had hoped when I wrote these down that I would remember the context in which I had the thought in the first place, but no. And now that's just a sentence that you've probably never heard before, and it's out in the atmosphere. I'm making bad choices in the name of humanity every day of my life. I'd rather go to a bowling alley and lick the finger salt off the gutter balls. Like, what a way to tell somebody that you have no interest in, like, the activity. Hey, do you want to go axe throwing? I think I would rather give myself every kind of poisoning and disease that I could possibly get at a bowling alley, which is every disease communicable in this hemisphere of the earth. Imagine how many 14-year-old fingers have been inside those holes. Couldn't even get through the fucking sentence. And I have notes full of shit like that, because it's got to be at least a little bit healthier than being stuck on a job site all day, being forced to listen to top 40 rock hits over and over until my limbs turn blue because I've been suffocating them individually in a circuit for the past hour and a half so that I can experience something a little bit more enjoyable than Green Day. My left foot has more talent than Green Day. An old fence has more talent than Green Day. You know when you've just cooked bacon and there's still hot grease in the pan and you want to rinse it off, but if you're like me, you have no patience whatsoever, so you don't wait for it to cool, and the frying pan fucking, as soon as the cold water hits it, just explodes, and you begin to become concerned about whether or not you're going to start a fire? That frying pan in that moment has more talent than Green Day. This is something that I actually overheard somebody else say while I was at work. Yeah, I get a nosebleed sometimes and I taste it. Why? Yeah, everybody's had the experience where you tilt your head back and you do that nose bridge pinch thing and it just drains it at the back of your throat anyway. But is that something that really deserves attention at 8:30 in the morning when I'm helping you carry metal into an empty building? And this is why I do shit like this, because just like that, I found my segue from one disgusting part of human existence into another. You know, I've not hidden the fact that there are an incalculable number of things that I hate about children, one of which being that they can't spell the word incalculable. And I can barely say it apparently. But a much larger one is that all of them at some point are going to lose a bunch of their teeth. On the list of behaviors that kids exhibit that are horrible, having teeth sporadically fall out of your skull should be sandwiched right in between staring at strangers in public for an amount of time that's so uncomfortable that I begin to violently vibrate in line at the grocery store, and eating snow regardless of its color. Which, fine, I like the taste of lemons too, but being able to differentiate between two things is an important human trait that you should be able to develop at a young age. I like dark cherry. That doesn't mean that I drink a glass of period blood every day. I remember being like 7 or 8 years old and having a loose tooth in class. That's too old to be having a loose tooth. Whatever age is appropriate to have a loose tooth during class. And it was still partially attached, so I sat there twisting it like a psychopath, lost in a fantasy about strangling a street cat, until eventually it snapped out of my skull. And I feel like my brain is punishing me for doing that by not letting me forget it. Children just walk around with wobbly teeth, yanking at them in public, and making sure as many people know about it as possible. Getting your attention so that you can watch them extract a body part is something a demon does over top of you while you're experiencing sleep paralysis. And then sometimes parents will keep them in a dry box in a closet and then whip them out during a family gathering like some twisted game of surprise I'm mentally unhinged, and then derive some gross joy from sharing the memory of the time their offspring imitated a chain smoker for 6 months. This is a real life situation that somebody's been put in against their will. Imagine you're visiting extended relatives for Christmas and your grandmother reaches into a chest of heirlooms and pulls out a bag of teeth. In any other situation, that's an insane person's behavior. If a stranger ever presented me with a bag of teeth, I would also expect them to tell me the exact date, time, and reason for my death. And it would be right that second with a knife, because the only motive I can think of for you to show me teeth is so that you can get close enough to me to kill me and take mine. I know I'm not the only person who finds an absence of teeth unnerving, because you either have had or you know somebody who has had a nightmare where they fall out. That dream has the same effect radius as lung cancer. There's entire books dedicated to interpreting that fantastic night terror, which don't bother because I can solve that equation for you right now. It's gross and creepy to not have teeth. People who don't have teeth look like they're trying to eat their own face. Any old person who refuses to wear dentures should be put in a home because they've clearly lost any and all self-awareness. Even middle-aged people are guilty of this because apparently they're allergic to direct eye contact. Oh, your false teeth are uncomfortable? You know what else is? Looking at you ever. And that weird fucking lip thing that you do makes you look like you're a snake trying to swallow a crocodile. Who in their right mind would voluntarily relegate themselves to baby food for a good chunk of their adult life? That's a red flag. What else have you given up? Supporting your head with your neck and shitting in private? There's no reasonable excuse to let your exposed bones dissolve and rot into non-existence. I've seen homeless people with toothbrushes. The majority of people have a roof over their heads, central air, and jobs, but for some reason, a hot load of them can't find the motivation to do something that someone with probably no reason to live and nowhere to be manages to get up and bang out in a McDonald's bathroom. Take a break from posting flat earth theories on Facebook where your more sensible offspring can see how unhinged you become since the divorce, and pay attention to your Mad Max apocalypse of a mouth for 2 minutes. We as humans have the least impressive version of this evolutionary trait. Sharks lose their teeth all the time and just grow right back. There's no shark in the ocean that's grossed out by how few teeth another shark has for the same reason that rich people never worry about the money in their bank account. They both tacitly understand that more's on the way and everything will be fine. Meanwhile, regular people like me know that there's such a finite amount of those two things that if I begin to lose even a small percentage of either, I'm calling relatives and making amends because they'll never see me again. Being able to lose and regrow teeth is like the grossest superpower that I can imagine, but you could defeat any villain with it. Imagine you're an alien and you land on a distant planet and the first thing that happens to you is that you get buried in a mountain of my cavities. Guess what? Fuck that planet. You can have it. I don't care how many scrapyards he's near. Magneto doesn't stand a chance against a fleshy orifice that shoots my wet bones at him at the same rate of fire as a minigun. Tooth fairy? Worse than Santa. At least Santa Claus, theoretically, leaves you something you might like when he breaks into your house. Instead, nah, let's perpetuate the idea that a bone collector enters your child's room while everyone is aslumber and takes a part of what was once his skeletal structure and then pays him for the privilege. Santa just got you a Hot Wheels track. Your parents created this nightmare whose sole purpose is to buy your body parts, and then they made it real in your child mind. And then they expect you to take care of them once you start bringing milk home from the grocery store even though your fridge is full of it. Dentists apparently have the highest suicide rate of any profession. And that just makes sense, because I can only imagine when you see hell every day, you stop being afraid of it. If I woke up every morning knowing full well that my waking hours were going to be spent giving myself reasons to be traumatized during my sleeping hours, I could understand how suddenly the 9th floor window to my office wouldn't seem so shatterproof anymore. Yeah, I'm still here. I would lie to you and talk about a schedule, you get ready for the next upload, but it'll be here when it's here. It's as good as it's gonna get. And the nice thing about not earning any money from this is that really I only do it for fun now, which means that it's gonna happen less often because I have way less time for fun in my life now that I have to be a gross adult. But the trade-off is I actually care about what I'm doing. Take it as you will. The coffee and the stickers are the coolest thing that we have going on right now. Check my Twitter. It's all I ever use anymore. There's a lot of caffeine in this coffee. That was a real gross noise my mouth just made.